What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's March. We are doing what's on my deck, and it's a big one. I got a juicy one going here. We are currently down here on Grand Lake. Wish I was fishing the Classic, of course, but I'm not. But we are here to represent sponsors and hang out, meet fans and all that at the Expo in Tulsa. And it has been a really big week, and particularly for just me, the kid and me, and for G Loomis, my favorite rod company, came out with, I got a bunch of them here, a brand new redefined GLX line. Pretty awesome GLX. Now, you're gonna hear more and more about it if you follow me regularly. GLX was the first, major rod that I ever purchased for myself. When I was a kid, that I'd run over to, I'd pay groceries at this grocery store, I'd run over to this tackle store, and I just right away fell in love with the G Loomis fishing pole, particularly GLX. So the first one I ever bought was a spinning rod, 7-1, or it was actually a 7-foot medium heavy. It would be an 843S. Now, today, fast forward, and I have a slew of old GLXs I keep at home, just little memory pieces now at this point. Some of them I haven't fished with, but that's the cool thing about this new GLX line. We got some brand new rods, or reintroduction rods that they brought back. Certain models that have come back are all new ones to definitely help today's angler in a lot of what we're doing, particularly forward sonar. So I've been waiting a long time, maybe a year and a half, something like this. A lot of testing stuff went into these rods. They're absolutely awesome. Iconic brand, iconic line, GLX. Let's get right into it. One of the ones I'm very excited about. It's an all new one to the G Loomis line. This is a GLX 863S DSR. DSR drop shot rod. So what does that mean? 863, 3 would be a medium heavy power. 86 would mean 86 inches, which would give us a total of 7 foot 2 inches, extra fast, medium heavy action drop shot rod. Really like this. I don't know if the camera can get this. It's got a quick tip and a lot of backbone. So to me, it's got some 872 to it. You follow me at all, you know I'm in love with the G Loomis NRX Plus 872S JWR. It's got a lot of backbone in it. I really like it. It's a rod that I can still get away with light line, as light as I want, but in current stuff, and that's where this one's going to play. I use the 822 DSR, the 822 Drop Shot NRX. I use it a lot. I do believe that is in this new GLX line. This one in particular, this is going to be more a couple things. Largemouth grass line. Take places like Lake Minnetonka or anywhere along the Tennessee River, Florida, anywhere where I need an offshore drop shot rod for largemouth, where there could be grass, vegetation, any of that, I'm going to go to the 7.2 model. Another one too, a big one, forward sonar. I'm going to be pitching this a lot. Places like Mille Lacs, Lake Ontario, definitely Thousand Islands where you have that current, or any of the Great Lakes, and they put a big bow in your line. No matter what you do, you're drifting around, you end up with a lot of bow. So when you feel that little pull and you hit them, if you have a lot of bow there, you don't get a good hook set, and them smallies go straight to the surface immediately and they throw you. So I'm really excited for this edition. This is one that I've had a prototype for a while, and absolutely love the rod. It's 7.2, real accurate, not too long, not too short. Shimano Exsence 4000, indestructible, one of the best spinning reels ever made, period. And I was using 10-pound PowerPro. You can see I've wore this PowerPro out. Got to get some new stuff on there. I'm using, on this rod, I had 10-pound. This was 10-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon, 10-pound PowerPro SS V2, owner Covershot 2-watt hook, and this is probably a 3/8 or a quarter Tungsten drop shot weight. Something we'll just get into, but just an all-around really awesome rod. Where else are we? Let's keep it going with these two right here. Strolling, Demiki rigging, mid strolling, bottom strolling, Demiki rigging, moping, pinging a minnow, jigging minnow, whatever you want to call it. Been around a long time. Definitely it's changing and developing with the times. As forward sonar is out here and we can target fish that way, a long-standing, tried and true method that's been around for a long time is getting advanced, and G Loomis is right along with those advancements with the new GLXs. Here we have an 891 and we have an 892. I'm using them both pretty equally for any of my strolling, moping stuff. Let's talk about these setups. Couple things different. Let's get into the 892 first, then we'll go to the 891. Okay, so these are both 7 foot 5 inches. I like that. I'm also experimenting with some shorter rods right now and everything in between. I was using the 872 a lot. These are built a little lighter than that, so it helps a couple things. One, you can see here I just got a Goldeneye with a Z-Man whatever they call that bait. Everyone knows what this is, scented Shadz or something like that. A little 1/4 ounce or 3/16 ounce Outkast tackle, Goldeneye. And the thing is, you want this thing just when you shake it, you want the tail to shake, or you want it to jump back and forth. So you want to have a little bit of tip. One thing I like about this rod in particular is I can throw my bigger stuff for mid-strolling, and then at the same time, I'm also going to use this a lot on like Mille Lacs and the Great Lakes, throwing little tiny swimmers, sturgeon bay, little 1/8 ounce, little 2.8s, you know, little tiny exo swimmers, 3 3/4 extra 3-inch stuff, small stuff. This is going to be the rod. I'm going to be able to cast it super far, being 7.5, and it's just got a great action to be able to load up on them. Multi-purpose rod. If they're up higher in the water column, I can use bigger baits like this. If I got to dig them out of the rocks, smaller bait stuff, I'm going to use this. I'm using 10-pound PowerPro SSV2. You can see this is a fresh spool that I just put on there. Keeps that line real sharp, vibrant, chartreuse. I can see it real well. I'm using, in this case, I got 12-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon and a good old Shimano Exsence 4000. 892, a workload of a rod. I got a lot of buddies that have always loved 892s and 902s. They are totally different rod, but they have kind of a cult-like following on them. And this one in particular, with mid-strolling coming on, is something that I got to keep in my hand a lot. Really liking the 892. We can pivot here now into the 891. So this is the GLX 891S jig worm rod. This is a medium light 7.5 fast action. I think it's absolutely perfect for a lot of my strolling needs, a lot of my Demikian, whatever, again, moping, Demikian, jigging minnow, pinging a minnow, whatever you want to call it. Here you can see I'm just using, I think that's a little Z-Man Streakz. Again, another Goldeneye with just a smaller hook. That's the key to Goldeneyes. We got you covered from 1/8 to a half and everything from 1/0 to 5/0 in between to cover all these different things that are coming out. A great head for throwing for both paddle tails and anytime you're using this like Demiki style setup. The 891, it's really got a soft tip. It reminds me a little bit of about like a 901, 902, but again, it's got that backbone, which is key. I need that tip. I need to get this bait moving, but when they load on it, I don't want to feel them bite it when they go for it. I don't want to feel that. I just want to know when it's gone and my bait goes dead and you got that soft tip so the fish don't feel it. And every single time, once I got my hand on these rods and started doing this, one of them was a 10-pounder. I know Bree's got that video dialed up. They just had it in the back of their throats. I did switch up. I know I'm throwing the Exsence 4000. Here's the deal. If you can't tell by this, a new GLX line. It ain't like I threw my NRXs away. That's for dang sure. These are different rods. You know, these are different tools for different stuff. And I'm always playing with stuff. That's why I encourage you to keep watching my stuff, because I'm not switching it up on you per se, but I'm just always trying to learn. I'm just always trying to get better. And then I'm going to change my mind and things are going to get better at doing this. And I have started playing with a slower reel. I think I've mentioned this before in another one. Here in this case, I got the brand new Shimano Twin Power, brand new reel. This is the brand new version of the Twin Power, and it's the 2500. It's just absolutely perfect for this. It has a slower gear ratio than the 4000 for a lot of different reasons. I always talk about the 4000. I like that. It picks up line quicker. It's got faster gear ratio, all that kind of stuff. But that's because I'm throwing bottom baits on it a lot. This one, when I get the fish's attention, I'm strolling it in front of the top of their head. The 2500, this Twin Power, it's a little bit slower to pick up the line, so it actually dangles it. And when I do get a little nervous, like, oh, the fish is coming, and I'm shaking it like that, I'm still trying to reel and keep it away from them, I'm still allowing the fish to load slower. I was catching myself on the 4000, sometimes pulling it away from them a little too quick and then watching them on my live scope, you know, wallow back to the bottom. So, you know, blue line, I'm using blue line because at the time that's really all I had. I kind of like it now because I can just look down real quick. My chartreuse stuff is the stuff that I can't feel, so I'm throwing on the bottom and I'm waiting to feel a bite. I want to see my line. The blue stuff, I know I can look and grab, and that's middle water column stuff that I'm throwing. Little Goldeneye, again, the little Streakz, little Outkast tackle Goldeneye. It's again 10-pound PowerPro SSV2, and in this case I got a 10-pound, actually this is still a 12-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon leader, 891, juicy rod. I think this can also double up good as a marabou rod, a spy bait rod, a lot of stuff you can do with this. And if you're a smallmouth assassin, this is the rod for you. All right, it's going to be a long one. I'm excited. The GLX is just, it's out there, and I'm really excited. Let's throw one that I haven't got to throw this actual rod yet, but the prototype was sick. Since we're talking about paddle tails, man, I'm just rolling with them today. Outkast tackle, Goldeneye. This is a 3/8 ounce fought hook with a 3.8 Keitech swing impact fat on it. Straight 12-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon. I'm using a Shimano Bantam. This is a 6-speed, the slowest option. And the rod, Loomis GLX 902C MBR. A rod I've never used before. I believe they've had this in a couple other lines in the past. Maybe the Conquest. I know some people are really excited about it. When I had the prototype right away, I was excited for the Swimmer. I mean, it's going to be a good rod for a lot of things, but I love a longer rod, offshore, big Great Lakes, big water, you know, stuff that in the fall, throwing a little bit bigger baits, up to 5 inches of these, and I'm working it through the rocks real slow. I've done a lot of videos on that. I'll do another one, and this will be the setup that I'm throwing. I got myself a few of these. I just think it's going to be, I know it's a great rod for that. So the 902, definitely another great rod. We're not all, let's throw something not GLX in there just to switch it up real quick. Chris Zaldain and Bass Mafia sure know how to make a swim bait. A little line through deal, but not your traditional line through. Belly weighted, so it gets down on the bottom and it slides out when the fish is on. Man, I lost a lot of fish over the years with your traditional jig head, big jig head, and these big baits. It's a lot of plastic, a lot of stuff that can go wrong to get those fish into the boat. Absolutely awesome design. Zaldain definitely knows his stuff when it comes to these paddle tails, and anytime I'm down here in the south, especially pre-spawn, you'd be a fool to not have it on. I'm using a Loomis NRX Plus 904C MBR. Awesome rod for that. It's a work rod. I use it a lot. Florida, I use it a lot. Now, I use it a lot for anything heavy, reaction bait fishing. I really, really like the rod. I got the Shimano Corrado, the new one, the 200 HG. I love a 200 size spool. Honestly, I hope to see us continue down that line and Shimano come in with a upper echelon. But bottom line is, this is a workhorse of a reel, and it's the highest one, I believe, off the top of my head, that I can get a 200 size spool in. So it's a must-have for everybody. The NRX is perfect. On this, I'm throwing straight 16 Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon. That 16 is like rope, thin enough to do whatever I want with it, very manageable, and you just cannot break this stuff. So awesome setup. Definitely one you got to have on your deck this time of year, and don't think I won't be throwing that big swim bait for smallmouth late in the fall, come October and stuff back at home. Where we at? All right, we'll finish strong with GLXs. Shimano Macbeth, it is officially flat side season. I think other baits out there like this one, the Frit side, some of the Rapala stuff has just proven to people that flat sides are year-round baits. At the same time, a flat side crankbait is deadly right now in the pre-spawn as fish are starting to come in and stage. There's not a lot of leaves on the trees. There's not a lot of stuff for you to hit. You can kind of roll down banks and really throw them. Generally, flat sides are tough to throw. Not in this case. The Shimano Macbeth 57F has jet boost technology. You can actually hear it in a flat side. And it allows me, it puts the weight, it allows me to really cast a bait that was tremendously hard to cast in the past for me. Using a Loomis IMX Pro 845C CBR. I've talked about this rod before. Can't mess with the IMX Pro CBR series from Loomis. They're absolutely awesome. Again, Shimano Bantam. I'm using a 6-speed Bantam here. I like the slower retrieve come spring. The fish ain't moving that much, and I just want to buy as much time in the strike zone as I can. And on this, I'm running straight 12-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon. I have another one of these in the rod locker with a regular Shimano Macbeth 50F. I'm running the 14-pound Mastiff, same rod. Generally, my rule of thumb is, I just shot a video doing this yesterday, I'm going into the pockets, starting this time of year, looking for pre-spawners with the flat side, the Macbeth flat. Then they spawn, and then come a month from now when they're moving back out, they're looking to eat a little bit more, I'm switching it up to the actual Macbeth 50F. But awesome setup you gotta have in the spring. All right, I'm gonna save, they're all really good ones, so I'm just gonna, these three are all real good. Let's do this one. The GLX 874C CRR, Carolina rig rod. If you follow me a lot, which I'm sure a lot of you have, I know that Loomis has to, you know, it's part of their thing to put in there what they're used for. Don't always that be deal because it's a great Carolina rig rod. I am ecstatic that this rod came back. I still have the old Recoil Guides GLXs at home, the 874. I love the NRX 873, slightly softer, but they came back with the 874 in this new GLX line. We're talking 7.3 heavy action, and it's a 4 power. So again, you know, 2 powers your medium power, 3 powers your medium heavy, 4 power is your heavy. This is a heavy rod, great for throwing your 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce Carolina rigs, 3/4, 1 ounce biffle heads, 3/4, 1 ounce football jigs, just an all-around fluorocarbon stick. This thing is, you can flip a stealth fighter with it going down the bank if straight fluoro is your deal. Big, huge fan of the 874. It is my Carolina rig rod of choice, and you all know I love a Carolina rig. If you're a true bass fisherman, and I mean, Carolina rig just flat out catches fish. So this is an awesome one for it. Really, really excited. I think I can put my old ones, you know, put them in the corner now. They got nostalgia purposes, but they ain't getting no more play out here. But here, I am using this as a Strike King biffle head. I roll through them. It's a tungsten head. I got that extra wide gap owner hook, jungle hook on there, a 3/0, a little zoom speed craw. I might put on a biffle bug, just something, you know, I'm in Oklahoma right now. It's what you throw as a biffle bug all times a year down here. HG 7-speed Shimano Bantam, straight 16-pound Shimano Mastiff. And again, a badass GLX 874 CRR rod. Basically, bottom contact rod. That's what I want to call it. Bottom contact rod. It is a Carolina rig rod, but again, you can throw them football jigs, you can pitch them jigs, you can drag the Meg shakies around, any of that kind of stuff. When you're dragging on the bottom, you'll be hard pressed to find a better rod to do that than the CRR series and the new GLX. I mean, there's so many rods here I'm excited about. Again, 2 new ones here. I get the most questions about these, and rightfully so. Let's start with the Jerkbait rod. Man, this has been the one, this is my first prototype I had, and it was hard to not keep it out. It's a Loomis GLX 822C JBR Jerkbait rod. 6 foot, 10 inches, moderate fast, medium. Real nice bend on it. It's not as soft. I don't really love a soft jerkbait rod. I wanted to, and I like it when I get it, but at the same time I get slashed by so many big smallies. I need to be accurate, and you get accuracy out of a little bit of backbone on your jerkbait rod. I don't want to scare anyone away. This thing is perfection, but at the same time, I like to drive the hooks home when they bite it way out there, and try to get more hooks into them. And at the same time, it just plays them perfect. This 610, it's a great size. It's got the shortened handle. That is one thing that I was just ecstatic about when I got my prototype of it. It feels great. I'm just glad the cat's out of the bag on this one, so I can have a few of these lined up. And I will have a few. Obviously, I'm throwing jerkbaits a lot right now with forward sonar going on, and at the same time, it's spring, so you should always have a jerkbait throwing. It's a big fish. It's a straight fish catcher. But I'm also going to be throwing topwater a lot on this rod. Poppers, you know, stuff like topwater spooks, shower blows, SBs, evergreens, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be throwing on this rod. It's perfect. It's not catching my bibs. The short handle is awesome, but it's still enough that I can get something on here and really let a cast go. The brand new Shimano Metanium 70HG. You know, that I just did the GLX shoot, so this was a little bit of a gift from them. I can't believe I already just got hook rash on it and stuff like that, but you ain't gonna find a reel that's gonna cast us far. And I feel like I got to jump over my words here because I'm not a huge DC guy. You don't see me talk DC a ton, but I love high-end Shimano reels that do have DC in them because of the fact that, again, it's all about castability and throwing this jerkbait in the wind. I don't care if my forward sonar shows me that there's a big fish over there and I got wind and stuff coming at me. I need to deliver that cast with ease. I need to be able to throw into the wind, and that Metanium DC will definitely get the job done. Right now I'm using 12-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon. As soon as I get home, this will come off for 10-pound. I am throwing a Mega Bass Vision 110 +1. Awesome jerkbait. Nobody can ever say nothing. Throw that Shimano a lot, the World Minnow. I love the World Minnow. You know, shallow fishing for smallmouth, really shallow weedy bays, and definitely over vegetation. So Florida, Minnesota pockets, all that. 2 things here. We are talking pre-spawn, we're over by Grand. Of course, I'm not fishing Grand right now. The tournament actually starts tomorrow, but a little bit of nostalgia. This bait kind of this one for Hank Cherry here was one I was throwing around, and that +1 really can't get messed with when the fish, everything here kind of goes off. So not always one tool for the job, and that's why I use different stuff. But I can say, you know, I'm playing with different jerk baits and stuff right now, but basically a Vision 110 and a Shimano World Minnows kind of got you covered while you're out there. So again, the 822 jerk bait rod, and extremely impressed with the way that this took off. Super light. G Loomis, just an awesome rod. Last but not least, we got another chatterbug rod in the mix. We got the G Loomis GLX 873C casting BJR bladed jig rod, chatterbaiting rod. 7.3 fast action, medium heavy. This is what I like about this rod. I'm gonna do everything with it. I could do an entire what's on my deck, and I might just do it maybe for April if it's April Fool's, but it ain't gonna be an April Fool's because I can do absolutely so much stuff with this rod. Let's talk about the obvious that's on it right now. It's a bladed jig rod, okay? 7.3. So we have an NRX Plus bladed jig rod at 7.4. Both medium heavy power. This one's got more backbone to it. This one is on the heavier side of the medium heavy, where the NRX Plus is on the lighter side of the medium heavy. I've said it before, I love that NRX Plus rod. But when I was around real shallow grass and stuff, I liked it more for open water, smallmouth fishing, staying out over brush piles, over boulders, fishing that way. When I'm up in the grass and I'm ripping out a hydrilla and stuff, this is my baby right here. Again, 7.3 fast, medium heavy. Shimano Bantam HG 7-speed. And on this one, I think I'm throwing straight 18-pound Shimano Mastiff Flourocarbon and a 1/2 ounce Z-Man jackhammer chatterbait. Why wouldn't you? I got the Hog Farmer Spunk Shad on the back. Now, chatterbait rod, yes, okay? At the 7.3, I used it for everything. I mean, if I was out here in Grand Lake, I'd have a 3/4 ounce spinnerbait stapled into my hand with this thing. It's perfect for it. I'd be throwing stuff like this. Obviously chatterbaits, that's what it's made for. A buzz bait, awesome buzz bait rod. Poppin' frog, this thing is nasty poppin' frog. I can skip it anywhere. I'm even using it braid to fluoro now for flipping and pitching. It's got that 7.3, and if you just can't tell in all this stuff, I just really like my rods to be between like that 7 foot and 7.5 foot. That's my range for my build, my body size. That's what I like. And that rod you're going to be hearing a lot about because it's just a workforce. It's just a work rod. I'm going to be able to use it for so much reaction fishing, braid fishing, all that. So that's my lineup for this one. March Bassmaster Classic. This will probably air right as the Classic's over, early next week or something. So definitely good luck to whoever's doing that. Whoever gets to hoist that trophy. It's the biggest stage in all bass fishing. And those are my rods. Big thanks to G Loomis for letting me be one of the guys that got to bring out this awesome series. I mean, I'm absolutely touched by that on its own, and I encourage you all to please get out there and check out the brand new G Loomis GLX line, along with all these other good baits and presentations that I got for you. Until April, tight lines, everybody. See you on the water.